Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to the third Powerhouse Roundtable. We are going to finish this year off strong. We've got some people that are here on the Zoom call that have been part of our club and have just really dug in and made some big names for themselves. And we're going to be able to ask them a lot of questions to give you a structure, the format that we are going to have on this call. I am going to ask each one of these people a very specific question because I feel like it's a question that we get in the club a lot. And these guys have expertise to be able to answer that in all these different realms. So I'm going to ask them a specific question. Then we're going to open up to questions from the folks here in the Zoom room. I'm going to be monitoring the chat here in Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, either in the free group or the paid group, feel free to send in those questions for these guys and I will be monitoring. So send your questions in, I'll ask them and these guys will answer them, but this is going to be fire. These guys are awesome. So first, let me go ahead and just say what's up to everybody in the Zoom room. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
What do you do? Doing well.
Everybody's well. Christmas and holiday season going well?
Oh yeah, I'm still recovering from.
Hold on. When did Keanu Reeves get here? I swear Adam looks just like Keanu, bro.
He's plugged into the Matrix.
Right.
Adam, we're going to talk. This is besides the point, but Adam posted the other day about the Matrix movie and the Spider-Man movie. So I'm curious to see which one he liked better. So I'm going to ask that here in a second. That has nothing to do with the conversation we're going to have tonight, but I want his opinion. So let me go around the horn. I want to introduce everybody real quick. Just give us a nutshell, who you are, what you do, where you're located, and then we'll hop into the questions. And if you're watching on Facebook and you have questions for these guys, start to think about them and I'll get to those here in a second. But let's go ahead and start off with Phillip Pearson. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? Good to be here. So yeah, I'm Phillip Pearson, been part of the group since early this year. I think I joined in like June or so. I have to check back, but we run a production company out of Detroit, Michigan. So representing Detroit, the D today. And yeah, we've got a good team of people we've kind of built out a team. It's me and my partner. And then we've got a team of editors and videographers that we've put together. Small team, but we're growing. And this group has been a big part of that growth. So excited to be here.
You read my mind because the question I have for you is about building a team. So we're going to get into that here in just a second.
All right.
Awesome, brother. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Let's go over to Ridge. What's going on, man?
What's happening, guys? Appreciate the invite to hop on this thing. Obviously I'm Ridge. I do kind of a similar thing than a lot of people do here. We have a video production and marketing company as well, based out of small town, Boise, Idaho. Not super small, but that's what we do. I've been doing video for about 3 years.
Awesome. Ridge, I saw your holiday video the other day, your holiday trivia. I aced it, dude. I knew every answer and everybody that got one wrong, I was like, what are you doing? What are you thinking?
Right?
Those are easy questions. I feel like those are like softballs, like looking like watermelons coming at me. Good stuff. All right, let's go over to Tomas. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on, man? Hey, so glad to be here. Man, so yeah, I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona. I run a company called Mas Creative, very similar, like Rich said, marketing and video strategy. So I've been a part of the group since, probably around the time that Phillip said, about June or May or so. And I launched Mas Creative in November of 2020. So we're somewhat new, but not totally. We're still growing though, I'll tell you what. And this group has definitely been a major reason why we're seeing that growth.
Awesome, man. Awesome. It's been fun to watch you. And my question is going to be about the transition that you made and rebranding and what that looks like. So I'm very curious to know your answer on this. Good stuff. Okay. Awesome to have you here, man. Let's go over to CM. What's up, CM?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm CM Williams. I joined the group this year. I'm pretty sure it was January, February. And the course did kind of change the course of how I think about business. And so while the other guys kind of got I'm pretty much working on kind of structuring my business. I might even rename it because, like I said, the course has totally kind of changed how I want to approach the business. And I kind of want to scrap some of the other stuff I did and kind of start anew. But everything's been going well. For right now, it's pretty much just me. I outsource to get my jobs done. But I am trying to niche down to tech, and that's beginning to happen. And I'm doing a little bit of brand partner work with tech companies. So it's been cool. kind of an addition. Yeah.
Awesome, and welcome. It was January. I actually went back and looked because I looked at a couple of your posts because I had questions about them. So
Gotcha.
It was January. But welcome, man. We're glad to have you here. And last but not least, Adam Grumbo here in Austin. Well, Hutto. We'll call it Austin. That's close enough. What's going on, man?
It's the Austin market. Yeah, well, I think I'm one of the latest to join the party. I don't know what took me so long. Just joined up about a month ago. And so far, I've only gone through the boot camp. But the reason why I'm in here is because I'm leaving so much money on the table. I do a lot of, about 50% of my business is weddings. And the other 50% is corporate work. And I'm not giving them the trifecta yet. And I'm leaving all that money for somebody else to grab. Probably you, Dave.
Hey, no,
but soon. If I'm gonna pull in $1 million, it's gonna have to be with this method. So here we go.
Let's do it. Yeah. So you joined the day you filmed my wedding, right? I think that you went home that night and joined before midnight, wasn't it? I think that was the case.
Peer pressure, baby.
I know.
Actually,
Scott
I thought it was like a $3,000 course.
Well, that might change here very soon, but we'll get to that later. We got some big announcements.
Yeah, so far it's worth that.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, before we get into all the other questions, Adam, which was a better movie? What, Spider-Man or The Matrix? And don't spoiler anything, but in your opinion.
Yeah. I've been trying to finish watching The Matrix for about a week now, if that answers your question. I can do it. I'll power through.
I'm so sad about that. I'm so sad about that.
I might have to go.
It wasn't it. The Matrix wasn't it. All right. Well, I got to try anyways.
Right, 4 times with Spider-Man though.
I didn't like Spider-Man.
I don't think anything's gonna top. I'm sorry. What was that?
I didn't like that Spider-Man, man. It was terrible. It was horrible.
Man, hey, I don't think I want to be a part of this group anymore.
It was for the people who were like kids in 2004.
Yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia involved. You definitely had to. Yeah, it's okay, David.
Okay. You can give me a pass. All right. Anyways, okay, let's dig into this, guys. I want to make sure that we get to this as not quickly as possible, but obviously we want to respect all y'all's time. And I appreciate you guys being willing to block off an hour or two of your time so we can have these awesome discussions. So let me go ahead and start with Phillip and ask you my question. Again, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, if you have questions to Phillip, start putting them in there and we'll dig into that. But Phillip, like you said, you've been with the club since about June, and I've really seen a lot of growth from you. But one of the things that I see that you're doing that I think a lot of people have questions about is really building a team and having people that work directly under you and actually work for your company, as opposed to maybe having contractors or whatever. Or even if you do have contractors, like building a team where you're the salesperson, you kind of direct the shots and call the quarterback stuff and all that stuff. Talk to me about like, how did you start that? What are some tips that you can give to people that are like at that point where they're going from the solopreneur to maybe I want to start bringing on people? Like, what did that look like for you? And what are some tips that might help them out?
Yeah, sure. Good question. I think for me, when I started this business and when I got in partnership with Matthew, my whole goal really came from my dad growing up, seeing what he did. He was able to really build out a team of people. He ran a blue collar company, gutter installation company, and he built out a team where he was just out doing estimates, and then he could take off and travel around the world with my mom and do some things that he really loved to do. And so I guess my mentality going into business was always to not own a job year after year after year, but to be able to free myself and get back that time building out a team and bringing people along with me on that journey of success. You know, as we year over year we're growing. I don't want to do it alone. For me personally, I'm not a guy who can work alone, honestly. Like Matthew, my partner's heading out to like Florida next week, and I'm just dreading it because I'm just going to be alone in the office, you know, trying to get stuff done. I work better when I can like say, hey guys, let's do this, let's do that, let's do it together. So for me personally, I needed to build out that team to be able to operate and to make a success of anything, you know, we're trying to do here. So that was a really important key. And honestly, I asked Matthew the other day, like, what was the best decision he made? And he's been doing video a lot longer than I am. He's been doing it probably 7, 8, 9 years maybe now, and graduated with a degree in videography. And I didn't. I was like, hey, what should I do here, Matthew? When I was trying to get into video, he's like, just come work for me for a little bit and shadow me on the job, get going. And that's how I got my start in video altogether. And then we partnered up because we found we had different strengths. I was more on the sales and marketing side, and he liked to work kind of on the back end, editing and all of that. So when we partnered up together, I asked him I just asked him last week, what was the best, thing he's done to date? And he was like, hiring you and bringing you on the team. And he asked me the same question. I'm like, hiring the next guy, because like I get to do other stuff. When I bring on that next guy, it frees me up to do more sales, more growth, more marketing, more working on the business. And we get to enjoy another person's perspective on video because it's so creative. Like everybody has their own perspective. Everybody has their own take on how to put a story together. And when you have like 3 people in a room versus, one, you just get so much more feedback, and your projects can get better and better and better and impress more and more clients. And that's what we saw over the course of this last year. When we invested in our team, we were able to pull off a short film earlier in the year that we just did on our own. It was centered around the Bronco. The vehicle that Ford's launching this past year is really a lot of excitement was built up around it. And so kind of to tie this all together, we were able to launch that short film and capture the attention of some really big players in our area and close a lot more deals. But that all started with a team mentality. So I think for me, like you have to, for me personally, and what my vision is, I wanted to build out a team to be able to do what I want to do long term.
Awesome. Good stuff. Guys, if you haven't watched that short film, go search for Phillip's name in the paid Facebook group. Go watch that short film. It's phenomenal. Him and his team just did a really, really good job on that video. So definitely go check that out. I got another question, and I'm sorry, I said I was only going to ask one question, but I'm going to ask 2 because I can. So when it comes to building teams and really kind of managing that, like how important is it to have systems in place, and what systems do you have in place to make sure that it's running smoothly, that, Joe's doing what he's supposed to be doing and this person's supposed to be filming that, and the sales process, and you're managing the sales and everything that goes with the whole team dynamic? Like, is it important, and what do you have in place?
Yeah, so it's extremely important. It's the only way to actually do it. Like you have to have systems. Systems run businesses, and people run systems. So like the idea behind, what we implemented here was taken from the book Traction. It's an EOS tool, and we run a level 10 at the beginning of every week, which is a type of meeting. You can look up a YouTube tutorial on level 10 meetings, and it changed the game for us when it comes to organization. So we all get together on Monday mornings for an hour and a half, and we lay out every project, because we're probably doing like 20 to 30 videos a week. And some of those kind of pour over into the next weeks and stuff. But for the most part, our turnaround time is like 2 weeks for videos. There you go. Thomas got it. All right. That's the book that changed my mind on like systems, processes, and implementing that. And really, Matthew would be the one to speak to that, because he's the systems and processes guy. But we got level 10 going, so we laid everything out at the beginning of the week, and then we have a software called ClickUp. Everything goes on ClickUp so that it's being managed, and we brought on a project manager. That was really one of our first hires. Editor/project manager was like our first hire. And then we just hired on a senior editor so that our project manager can just continue to edit and work on that. So systems and processes are huge. ClickUp and EOS were 2 things that we've implemented, but we're not there yet. We want to try to do 2 sales trifectas a month this next year. That's our goal, to try to hit our revenue goal for the year. And a large part of like when you can build out a team is you can start to think through goals and your vision and where you want to go and what you want to do. And so we already have our goals set for next year, what we want to do in terms of revenue. And we have our methods for how we can bring that revenue in. And a big part of that is the trifectas. We want to do 2 of those a month, but then we want to have those recurring retainers that we've been building out just to kind of help with the cash flow process. But I think we have our hands full because 2 Modi methods or 2 sales trifectas, as we call it in the group, it's a lot of work. I mean, that's a ton of production, and it's going to have to be streamlined. So ask me that after next year too, and I'll probably have a totally different answer because it's always changing.
I love the Modi method, dude. I love the rebrand of the sales trifecta. That's awesome. What was the name of that book again?
It's called Traction.
Traction. Okay.
By Gino. And Gino's actually a Detroit native. He's out of Detroit. And I'm actually joining a group that he's founded here. So it's a pretty cool group.
Okay. Awesome. Look, Tomas already has the book. He's already reading it. I feel like Ridge wrote that down because Ridge reads all the time. So good stuff. Okay, let's do this. Let's open it up to questions from the Zoom room. While you guys are asking questions, I'm going to go take a look at the Facebook group. So if you guys have questions for Phillip, start putting them in there and I will funnel those through. So let's open it up. What do you guys have questions for Phillip on the Zoom room?
Phillip, when it comes to, let me try to figure out how to phrase this. When it comes to culture within a company, when it comes to people skills and communication, what do you think is the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome? And what do you think is let's answer this first. What do you think is the most valuable asset / trait to have as a business owner when it comes to building an effective and successful culture within your brand?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One that I'm still trying to figure out and learn because I don't think people are born natural leaders, but most of it's just learned. And so I think communication is the biggest trait and asset that you can have as a leader. You have to be able to communicate really well. I think the biggest hurdle that we've had to overcome, at least from a video production and team building standpoint, which is where we're all kind of coming from, is making sure all the verbal communication is getting written down somewhere. And that's not slipping through, because oftentimes I'd get frustrated. I'd say something to one of the guys and I'm like, I'm confident I said it. And I said it clearly. Well, what I said, they didn't hear. And so then things can fall through and that can make unhappy clients. And thankfully that hasn't happened yet, but there's times where it's like close calls and everybody's got to like come together and figure it out maybe last minute to try to get something over the finish line before the deadline hits. So setting deadlines, writing everything down so that it can be referred to in like pilot docs, and getting all of that information streamlined. Like when I'm going through discovery, I think just the workflow, right? Like working all the way through from when you onboard a client all the way through to the final deliverable, like how is their experience? And each part of that section a team member has their hands on. So figuring out how to make sure nothing's falling through the cracks is probably the biggest challenge. And that's where systems and processes can come in big. Does that kind of answer your question? Cool.
Yeah, I think I got another question right along that same vein of thought. When it comes to company culture, there's a couple train of thoughts of which is higher priority, right? When you're leading a team, is it the client experience or is it the team experience? Which, I don't know, what is it for you, man? And what you all are doing at Modi?
I think it's the team experience first, because if the team's having a great time, they're going to be doing right by the client. So like my focus is more on the team, and that might seem backwards to some people, but I think if you can empower your team to be like excited about showing up and doing what they're doing, then they're going to stand right by the client at the end of the day. So it might be kind of a reversal of maybe how things have been done in the past, but I take it as like hey, don't get stuck in the nitty gritty stuff either. Like your guys are worth it. And if you show them that they're worth it and you value them, and they're going to pour their heart and soul into something and make it work. So we have some really good people on our team too.
Right on. So that's what I thought you were going to say. And so if I can ask a question B to that is, what do you do to like let your team know that you value them? So that way, because obviously like team retention or employee retention is huge, I think, for a lot of markets. But so what do you all do as you're building that team to help your team feel like they are valued?
Yeah, we can always do a better job at this. And I don't think we don't have the gold standard here by any means, but it's simple things too. Like when you walk in a room, how important it is to go up to somebody and just say hello. And like, that's one of the biggest things that employees say about their bosses is like, I just wish they just came over and said hello and spent a little time talking with me. So like being really intentional about, walking in the room. And we're a small team. We're really actually pretty tight knit. So I don't have like a lot of fear of like somebody heading out the door because for one, when they come on board, we're pretty transparent. Like we want to tell them, hey, we're going into our 4th year here. This is our revenue goals. This is like what we want to do. This is how successful we want to be. And we want you to be a part of that. And we're not going to hold anything back from you in that process. So like we're all in this together. We're on a ride, a journey to try to be successful together. And when they can see that happening and that I pretty much make the same amount as like my senior editor. It's not like I'm crushing it and doing killing it in the revenue side. I'm paying that guy everything I can at this point just to show him, hey, we're going places here and I believe in you. So it comes down to that, but also hiring the right people goes back to your core values. Like who are the people you really want to bring on? And if you know your core values, like we have 3 of them and we hire and fire based on those core values. So we're hiring the right people so that they align with those and we know we're going in the right direction. So there has been times where we've hired somebody in the past before we had our core values and they weren't the right fit and ended up stealing one of our biggest clients from us. And it was like, kind of a stab in the heart, but you realize like you could have seen the signs if you just look back and kind of saw like the different parts. And that's where we had to really come around our core values and figure things out from that standpoint. And now I feel like we're able to hire the right people.
I mean, you could also just have them sign a non-compete to help with that.
And
right?
that was something we did afterwards as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. But yeah, it does. It comes back to some legal stuff there for sure too.
Good stuff. Good questions. Okay, let's go to Facebook because we got several questions coming in. So Austin is asking, did you directly make any money off of that short film or was that for just exposure?
Primarily exposure, but I could point to 2 of our biggest clients that signed up based on that short film. I can also say that it made money for our clients too. They sold more merch than they ever have on that YouTube channel. Bronco Nation, they said it like people were just pouring in after that and buying Bronco Father's Day merch, which was awesome to hear. The dealership that sponsored the film sold a bunch of cars from that film as well. One of them was actually Matthew's, one of the family members of Matthew just fell in love with the Bronco through the process, went out to the dealership and bought a Bronco Sport. But it was just like that was really cool to see. There was an ROI for the client. And in the end, the exposure brought a massive ROI for us. So I'd say hands down, one of the best things we did last year was doing that piece.
Go watch that short film. Everybody go watch that. It's phenomenal. And the way that they utilize that piece to leverage bigger pieces was awesome. Go watch it, Austin. It was really, really good. Dom's asking how, and this is kind of the same question I asked, but maybe you can answer this in a nutshell again. How are you managing your team to make sure everyone is on the same page and you get the final products to represent your brand correctly?
It's a good point. Yeah, similar to kind of what you asked, David, but it's the systems, coming back to the systems, just making sure that everything is getting set at the beginning of the week. And then we assign it to every person, and then every person knows what they're responsible for to get that done for that week. The next time we show up at level 10, we have that checklist that we go through and say, hey, did we get everything done? And we're checking in kind of daily. Our project manager checks in with Matthew. They touch base every day. So there's also like scorecards you can build in. If you read Traction, I highly recommend reading that. You can develop a scorecard for your guys. And so, for example, just a quick example here, our project manager has a number 5, and that 5 means on Monday mornings, we just ask him really quick, 5 out of 5. Did you get 5 out of 5? And if he comes back and says 3 out of 5, that means he touched base with Matthew 3 out of 5 days instead of 5 out of 5 days. And that number, it might not be a big deal for that 1 week, but if it keeps coming back at under 5, we know eventually we're going to hit a problem. And we know eventually something's going to fall through because we put that number in place to make sure nothing ever does fall through. So you can develop scorecards to try to keep your team going in the right direction. But definitely recommend reading Traction. It's a great, I think any business needs an operating system. That's one operating system that you can use. But there's a lot out there. So
good stuff. Okay, we've got 2 more questions. I'm going to roll them into one question. Also, Ace and Grumbo, thanks for the assist on the links. If you guys haven't watched the video, it's just been linked in the comments of the Facebook live stream here. So after this, not right now, watch the rest of this live stream and go back and watch that later. But thanks for posting that. Okay, so the next question is from Avery in the paid group and from Karina in the free group. Karina is asking if you're willing to share what your core values are, and Avery is asking how did you define your core values? So maybe we can roll that into one last question and then move on to the next person on the panel.
Yeah, so our core values are always providing more value than what the client's paying for. That'll bring us success along with our clients. So we're always trying to figure out creative ways to offer more value into each and every project. Something we did with the Bronco short, for example, we poured in a lot of heart and soul into that project. And it came out for our benefit, but also for our clients. So that's one. The next one is collaboration. And it's a big one in our field in general, but we bring in photographers externally. We bring in marketers. We bring in other DPs, lighting teams, gripping teams. Like as we're scaling, we're going to be collaborating with production companies all over Detroit because you can't do it alone. And when you have a big project, you can scale to whatever size you need to when you have the right connections. So collaboration is a big part, and it is a core value of ours because it ties directly into the success of our clients. Collaboration with marketers is a huge part of what we do. It's always something we tie into everything that we do here at Modi. So collaboration is the second one. And the last one is constant pursuit of improvement. We're human, we make mistakes. That's what video is. It shows the human flaws and errors and how people go through and they're stuttering through videos sometimes. It's ums, uhs, awkward pauses. Well, we're editing all of that and it's just, we're human. We're all human. So the constant pursuit of improvement is really about looking back at past projects and saying, I can do better. It can get better. It can always get better. So that'll always keep us kind of innovating and changing. So those are our 3 core values. And if we can find people that align with those values, then they'd be a good fit to work with us. And we actually test clients based on those core values as well to see if they're a good fit for us. Oh, you're muted there, David.
I'm muted. Dang, I was dapping you up. I was hyping you up and I had it on mute. But dude, thanks for being here. That knowledge and just experience that you're sharing, dude. I have a feeling a lot of us in the club are going to get to that point where we want to take that next step in the next level and having teams. And I think that you're kind of spearheading that in our club, which is awesome. So thank you, dude. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, if you have more questions for Phillip, put them in the Facebook group. Make sure to tag him so he knows where they're at. And Phillip, if you have time later and you can go back and answer those, I'm sure they would appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Okay, let's go over to my man CM. Been in the club since January.
Yeah, man.
CM's crushing it. What's going on, man?
It's been well. I'm actually in the middle of a client big deal right now. I have a client pledging. They're going to CES to present the Spruce. I don't know if you guys see me throw that like rough draft. It's finished now, but they're going to CES in Vegas to kind of introduce that item to the world type deal.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I've been took off like on Christmas, but everywhere outside of Christmas has been like buttoning up this video. This is kind of the first video in the whole package. And they're super happy with it. I've never got so much praise in my life on this particular like last revision round. So yeah, it's a good start, good momentum to the start of the whole video strategy they have waiting on them.
Great stuff. Great stuff, dude. That's exciting. Okay, so here's my question for you, CM. There's been, and this is the reason I brought you onto this Zoom. There've been a couple of times where I've seen you post, and then a few weeks or months later, you come back and you're like, "Hey, remember that post that I did and I closed that deal?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've extended that contract, and now instead of X amount of dollars, it's X amount of dollars.
Right.
And you've been able to really get people to commit one and then recommit to bigger projects down the road. How'd you do it? We want to know.
So the discovery meeting is what caused the package to get way bigger. And so, and also when they first got their hands on me, they were still a pretty new company. They didn't have it all together as far as like how they wanted to market exactly. Because even the marketing manager that contacted me had just started working there a week ago when I was contacted. And so we had like the initial conversation over ramen. We went to a ramen restaurant, me and a couple guys from their marketing team and the marketing manager. And sort of during that brainstorm is when the first package happened. And so that was somewhere tail end of summer. And we couldn't meet with the CEO of the company till a few weeks later. By the time we met up, they'd already been discussing new things to do. And then at that meeting, I wasn't upselling, but I was definitely throwing new ideas that they were taking. And by the end of it, there was this moment of, okay, the scope for this project has gotten bigger. Pretty much after the discovery meeting, CM, we're gonna let you regroup and come out with the new price. And if I'm being real, like I said, this is my first year doing business in this way. I took the course. It's a whole new way. And so, yeah, I was actually super nervous about the next number because it was such a large jump. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna blow this. Like, but at the same time, it was like, that's how much it was going to take to do it. You know what I mean? It was just such a dramatic jump from the initial, plan to what come out of the discovery meeting when the CEO and a few more guys was there. But I threw it back, and there was of course one of those awkward, like, I haven't heard from him in a day. Like, what's what? They finally hit me back up and said they were with it. They just got to kind of split it up between like fiscal periods. So, but they wanted to do everything, at least just about, for that meeting. And then something I've been doing a little different than what you guys have taught. Whenever I signed up for this course, I was also kind of studying to be a mark, do a lot more of the marketing in. And I was doing that for a client. I don't know if you recall like Cast Med Spa. They were kind of the client that became a job for me, but I did learn a lot. So after we kind of broke up because she sold the company and the old owners didn't want to do it, I said, I'm going to try to turn myself into my own case study. And so that's kind of where the tech stuff come in. And honestly, so, you teach us to go to the BNIs and da-da-da-da. The few people I've gotten this year have always people that saw like Instagram posts. So I actually haven't signed up for any BNIs yet, even though I want to, but I've been kind of lucky to just kind of hustle on Instagram and, catch people in that way. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm gonna ask another question. We'll just try to keep this short, and then we'll open up to the group. Sure. Being that you already a couple of times have taken your current clients and got them to a bigger package, like, how important do you think it is to go back to your current and even previous clients and be like, hey, we might have left some stuff on the table? It
works because it's transparency. I was completely transparent about the fact that, hey, during the pandemic, I've been like getting up on my knowledge. There's stuff we can do. So yeah, my very first client following taking the course, was a client. It's 2021. I hadn't worked with that client since 2018, maybe. But yeah, she saw one of my posts and she was kind of like, are you kind of doing marketing stuff now? And I was like, yeah, let's set a call up. I kind of want to let you know what I've learned since we last worked together. And so it's very important. I know I'm rambling, but it's very important to just try. I mean, if they say no, whatever, but you can make, I think that deal for me was 21 grand before the company was sold 22. You can make 22 grand off just asking, you know what I mean? So, Yeah, it's very important. Just try. Don't
Listen,
leave anything
guys,
behind.
don't leave money on the table.
Right.
So many people are like, where do I find clients? And I'm like, have you spoken with your old clients? Have you let them know that you're involved and where you're at now? And can you bring them more value? Because if you can do that, maybe you reopen that door to something even bigger. So, CM, that's why I brought you on this call, dude, because so many people are leaving so much on the table, and we can go back to those clients and really open that up. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my attention to the Facebook group. If you have questions for CM, send them in. Let's go ahead and around the table here. If you guys have questions for CM and the deals that he's closed or whatever it is.
CM, are you going out to Vegas next month? For fledgling?
No. Fortunately. But at home doing this whole like YouTube thing for him that we're setting up, because I'm also signed on this client as an influencer partner. So I've also been recruiting their influencers, and I've agreed to make tests and make product reviews of their stuff. So I'm not going, but I mean they're taking some of my personality with them.
Yeah, I was hoping to see you there.
Well, now you got to go, CM. I mean, if Adam's asking for you to be there, you're gonna have to be there.
Yeah, Patrick and I are going. Well, we'll go drop by Fledgling's booth and see if your stuff is out there on display.
Oh, nice. You're going?
Sure.
Man. Yeah, I wish I was going for sure now. I'm gonna butter him up though. I've already said, hey, make next year happen, please. You know, type stuff.
Oh, it's super cool there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
All right, we got a question from Facebook here. So let me go ahead and ask this. And this might be Ace is asking, and this might be just a general question, but CM, let's get your take on this, and then if anybody else has a take on this, he says, what's you guys' go-to rebuttal when a client says that the proposal is too much or too expensive? Have you run to that yet, CM?
I have. I'm gonna go ahead and admit the only time it's happened, we broke up. But sort of back before that happened, yeah, I mean, there was always maybe some apprehension or something that you can get a sense of. And you just really got to you got to take them outside of the meeting and take them back into the vision of what they're getting type thing. I know it sounds like cliche, but you really do kind of got to like coach your clients to stay with it. You know what I'm saying? You're more than a videographer. You're basically a consultant. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, just bring the vision back. This is what we're trying to do. You'll be fine,
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's keep the questions rolling. Alan is asking a question in the paid group. He said, how do you interact with your client when you spitballed ideas with the CEO? Like, what were your triggers to say, yeah, this works well there, this works well here?
Is that like, if they give me ideas and I have to kind of facilitate what to keep and what to toss?
Alan, maybe clarify that question. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Go ahead and clarify, and I'll re-ask, and we'll go to the next question in the meantime. Austin asking, what was some of the type of extra value that you had added to that started sparking their interests to make the package deal bigger?
For one, the marketing manager made it known that, wow, yeah, I'm going to touch point with her. She doesn't want to have to think about it. And so kind of one thing that made her willing to do it was she's trusting me to just pretty much be their video department. But I'm also going to say that their marketing manager, it's crazy. You got a network. She was actually a lady I knew from college who worked on campus in the media department. She like worked for this job I applied for, but wasn't ready for it yet. But she still like kept note of me. And so like, I don't know, a decade later, she hits me up to do this. But yeah, all in all, I think it's trust there. That one's kind of a little unconventional, but I think I had sort of this past, like, he's gonna do right. Like, we don't got to worry about him type deal. That made it a little more okay.
Good stuff. Awesome. All right, next question. Robert's asking, what kind of posts do you think do well on Instagram?
As far as my getting clients, so for fledging, it wasn't a particular post. They just liked the fact that I was tech niched, because their whole thing is they want to reskin and kind of redirect their audience toward more gamers and tech enthusiasts and like RGB guys like me. And so literally what turned them on was the whole page. It wasn't really a post that did it for that. They were just like, we want our stuff to look like the way your Instagram looks, basically. Yeah.
Nice. That picture, make it look good. Good stuff. Okay. Well, I think that was all the questions on Facebook. Did anybody in the Zoom room have any additional questions for CM before we move on?
Yeah, mine was pretty much I think answered with that question, which was, was it organic or paid for ads on Instagram?
I got you. Yeah, so one of them was definitely an ad. I got a lot of inquiries through running promos. There's a few that just catch organic, but running promos was huge. I've made back every dollar I run on a promo, man. So they're worth it, honestly, if you're doing it in that way. Even when I promo like a normal post up that's set up, a brand might hit me up and say, hey, can you like shoot this product, type thing and trade for, I've got a couple cash deals, but I'm only kind of micro level as far as following. And a lot of it is free product for reviews right now, but I've got some dope products. Like the whole desk of my sound monitors were free. It's pretty dope. It's been a dope year.
Nice.
Yeah.
CM might take the award for the coolest setup in his studio there. Although I am disappointed we don't see that setup right now, man. I'm gonna have to take that award back from you. There we go. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. But yeah, it's not as clean as Instagram would show it. But yeah, this is what I'm rocking with when I check in here.
Good stuff, man.
Oh, come on now.
Hey, keep on crushing, man. Keep on making those deals bigger and bigger. It's exciting to see you grow, man, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, let's go over to Tomas, my man in Arizona. Tomas doing big things.
Hey.
So Tomas, tell us just a nutshell, a little bit about yourself real quick. I think you already did, but reintroduce.
Yeah, for sure. So I launched Moss Creative in November of 2020. And since then, man, before that, I was speaking for 8 years. So I think it kind of what you were alluding to earlier of a question that you're going to be asking me, the rebranding process for me has been, man, it's been an uphill battle, but it's been one that I've learned a lot from. And I'm still learning, though. I haven't learned it all. But that's something that, with that, midway through this first year of business is when I hopped on the course, and that helped me to make sure that as I'm rebranding as a video strategist and not necessarily just that videographer. So trying to stay away from one-off projects and really focusing on a whole strategy has been a game changer for us, man.
So let me ask you, because I know we have a lot of people who are in their current job situation, whatever it is, and they're like, man, I really want to go and be my own boss and create videos and films and do this thing. So you were in that situation. Obviously you were self-employed, I think, when you were a public speaker, right?
No, not entirely. It was a mix of both. I had my comfortable salary that I was rocking with. And then I also had some that was coming from my own brand that I built.
Okay, cool. So you got that going on. What gave you the guts to just be like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go create videos. I'm going to be a video strategist. At the time, you're probably just like, I want to make videos because that's fun. So I'll be a videographer. But like, what made you jump, dude? And like, what steps have you taken to make sure that you're successful in that jump and you're not just drowning in that deep end of the pool?
Yeah, I think more than anything, bro, to make a really long story short, for me, I had never thought that I would be a videographer at all. Like if you'd have told me a couple years ago that I'd be running a video production company, I would have laughed at you and been like, yeah, right, bro. And the big reason why is because I was loving what I was doing as a speaker. And then two, I thought of myself as a hobbyist at best with a camera. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, I would have never imagined that. It was me just leaning into, I'm a man of God. I follow my faith. And so with that, God was really leading me. I started serving at my church and I was going to serve in the youth ministry. But because, as I was going and exploring that, it was really just God having me focus on, hey, don't serve there. Let Giovanni, who is my son, let him have his own experience. Go serve somewhere else. And so just in that obedience of knowing that God was telling me that, I went ahead and hopped on the video team. And then from there, within a couple weeks of serving, I had this realization that the organization that was my salaried job, we were killing it on the physical stage, but we sucked on the digital stage. And so that's when I went to the CEO and I was like, yo, I got to be real. We suck here. We're killing it here. I'll take this over. I'll start to create content. And so I did. First video that I made, showed it to her. She was in tears with it, asked me to send it to her, showed it to a person that she was walking into a meeting with at that moment, and walked out with a $20,000 check from that person. And that's when I realized, all right, God, you got my attention. You're doing something here. So I started focusing on that. That was in November of 2019, bro. Fast forward a few months, pandemic hits, everywhere's closing their doors. And because of the skill set that God had me focusing on, that's where all of a sudden, we were able to switch gears and take all the programs that we were doing in person online within days, bro, not even a week later. And so because of that, now fast forward 6 months later, we triple in revenue because of that quick pivot. And so that's where I started to realize, all right, where we're at in the moment in this digital world. Yeah, like no kidding, we're in this digital space. Building up content is absolutely key to building up any type of brand or business, whatever that might look like. So all of that led me to realize, all right, I'm a young father, right? I've got a freshman in high school right now. And so we're about to be, with a child who has the option to go to college or not, and we got to build up this college fund. So I found myself talking to that same CEO, about a video I launched with my name on it. And it was for my mentor, who happens to also be a point of contact at one of the schools that we were working with. So I created a video for him as a head football coach to keep his athletes encouraged, with my name behind it and not the organizations. So I got kind of in trouble, if you will. CEO had my back with the board and was just kind of like, hey, I am going to bat for you, but I need to know, what are your goals? Because you're more secure here than anyone else. You're written into every single funding source. So just let me know. And because of my mind and me and my wife's mind was already like, hey, we need to look at our future. I was like, yeah, I need to go home making this month much a month. You know what I'm saying? I know you guys are paying me like well enough and then some, but from there she said, all right, what if we were to do this? What if all of a sudden now we go to moving you into a contract role? We contract you to speak, but we contract you to do media for us. We'll be your first client. And so, from there, that salary that was my comfort turned into a contract with them being my first client. I hit up my boy and told him too, hey, I'm finally making a jump, but I'm actually doing, videography and media. And so he was like, all right, bro, do you have that signed contract from there yet? From them? I told him, nah, man, not yet. I'm waiting for it. He's like, send me anything, bro. I don't even care. I just want to be your first contract. And so sure enough, man, the organization beat him out by like 14 minutes, but he's like, but did they pay you yet? And so he ended up being my first client. But out the gate, bro, like in November, I had 2 contracts that, we like that honestly gave me all the cushion that I needed to really go into our first year solid, bro, like replacing my salary income and then some.
Okay. So, and I'm going to try to answer this one shortly, but you hopped in, you're in the deep end, you're swimming, you're trying to swim, and then you join this club and you start hopping on these accountability sessions, and week after week after week, it just seemed like it was dried up, dude. I could tell the frustration that you had. You were like, it's not coming the way that I thought it was going to come. And like, it wasn't quite working. So obviously we have a lot of people in this club that are, run their business, and it's a faith-based business. Mm-hmm. And that's important to you. Mm-hmm. So 2-part question. One, how important was it during that time where you were kind of like, dang, man, I'm not getting the leads and the sales that I want? And 2, what did you do? Like, what were the things that you did to start getting those leads to come in and start landing the deals that you're landing now?
Yeah. So it was key to be networking, bro. Like for me, networking has been a huge game changer of being able to go and rebrand myself and to allow people to understand what it is that I do, not just as a videographer, but a video strategist. And so it really becomes, just like we tell a lot of clients, right? It becomes a numbers game. You know, we're working with the law of averages. So the more conversations that we have, the more meetings that we show up to, the better our odds in it. And as frustrated as I might have been, and a lot of us find ourselves in, that's where a community behind us is absolutely huge. Being able to hop on a Zoom with Ridge, with Don Man, with Phillip Pearson, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these people played a key role in those moments when I'm feeling frustrated to help me feel encouraged again. You know, so leaning on our colleagues, leaning on, you know, the people, our peers within the group, that is absolutely huge. And then also just choosing, like truly choosing that I'm going to be rocking with this power of love, peace, and a sound mind. That's something that has like taken me further than I ever could, because you know, if I get all up in my emotions, then all of a sudden the next conversation I'll find myself in, I'll have that conversation with this prospective client coming from frustration or coming from a place of like, be it insecurity or even, you know, even just not from an abundant mindset, you know what I'm saying? So being able to put that to the wayside and say, nah, I know what I'm bringing you, prospective client, right, is something that is going to take your business to the next level. That confidence behind it that I was resting on all of y'all this whole time, you know what I'm saying? That confidence, you know, really played a huge difference.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, cool. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook and you have questions for Tomas, send them in. Alan, I see your question, so I'm going to get your question here in a second, but let's go ahead and open up the questions from the folks here on the Zoom call. What do you guys got for Tomas?
For one, I'm just inspired. So I can see why you've been speaking, you know, for so long too, because every time you open your mouth, I'm feeling it. And I really, it resonated with me what you said about the club giving us that confidence, because I know a lot of people probably in the club aren't, you know, they're struggling to close some deals right now. I'm sure of that. I was too, but how did you have that mindset? I guess this is my question. How did you have that mindset when you weren't closing deals, but you kept celebrating everybody else's successes? Like, what did that do for you in terms of just how did that help you turn things around? Or did it help was that a part of what helped turn things around a little bit?
Yeah, no, dude, absolutely. Seeing everyone knocking down deals left and right, for me, I knew it was only a matter of time, because I was seeing everybody not as my competitors, not that we're in competition, but because we're in the same team, running our own companies, running in our own lanes, in our own markets, right? And so because of that, bro, like there's so much business out there. There's so many companies that need our help, bro, that I just knew it was a matter of time. I just needed to keep at it, man. That made a huge impact.
That's a great question, because every time that somebody closed a deal, and I could tell Phillip in our accountability sessions was frustrated, even though he was frustrated, somebody closed a deal, he was the first one there to hype it up. And I think that mindset is just so crucial to be like, it's going to happen. The more times I throw at this thing, I am going to hit it. I'm going to hit it. And then it hit, and then it hit, and then it hit, and hit. Now it's just like, dang, man, now I got to be like Phillip and go hire a bunch of people. Great question, Phillip. That's an awesome question.
Yeah, and if I can even add, like I remember one of the probably the first month that I had joined, I remember it was Don Man. He had crushed it that month. I think he had like over 27 grand in revenue that he had signed that much. And I'm like, yo, what in the world, man? This guy
post get me hype, bro. His post get me hype.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. And so I was like pumped for him genuinely. And I realized that genuine excitement for him, how much that fueled me. Like I knew it in that moment. And so I knew I need to have that with every single freaking person who lands a deal that for them is like a new high for them. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it is a new high deal or a new high month, or just, you know, coming out of a dry spell, all of that excitement really does freaking like fuel you.
Listen, that hype, when you hype each other up and there's that energy, there's that vibe, that buzz, I'll tell you what, it's contagious and it helps out. That was an awesome question, Phillip. Let me go over to Facebook because we got some good questions there as well. Austin's asking, did you open your business to all types of industries, or did you niche down to more of speaking businesses like you were doing at your old company? or a different niche?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I was coming out the gate totally fresh, not niche down. And so although the my old employer, even though obviously they're a speaking platform, my buddy, he runs a design agency, and so I was taking a lot of things that I was learning as a speaker and helping him to articulate himself a lot better, because he's a freaking phenomenal speaker as is. But in front of the camera, like a lot of your clients, you hit that record button and it's like deer in headlights. You know what I'm saying? So like helping him get over that and really iron out who, like, his personality on camera and whatnot, that was huge. But I really left it open to answer that question. Like, I left it open to anyone. I just continue to niche down in the sense of video strategists and helping put videos together, and not necessarily in any particular industry. And so that has opened me up to right now having conversations with a few of blue collar industries, which that wouldn't have been my go-to from the gate, is going after those industries. But man, like, we're in conversation for it being like multi-six-figure type of deals. If we were to really lock everything down, and I would have come in with the CM Williams special with like and then there's more, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they were to really lock in everything, we're talking like $250,000 for them, their strategy to really like see it through. And that includes digital marketing, which, like Phillip, I'm not handling it all. I don't necessarily have employees, but I have contractors that I'm working with on the production side, DPs and gaffers and so forth, along with digital marketers, our friends over at Night Owl, right? Nick and Joel, like they're really helping to bring it all together. But I'm stewarding the relationship that is helping to feed everybody as well.
Guys, everybody watching, understand the importance of partnering and collaborating. Tomas and Phillip, from what I understand, have both reached out to Joel over at Night Owl and are working deals there. I can't tell you how important it is, and I'm sure these guys will agree, that when you have partners in your back pocket, in your corner, they're going to be able to help you out and execute what you're telling the customer that can be happening and what can happen and you can do. That's a game changer. So it's cool to see that you're collaborating there. We've got one more question on Facebook from Alan. He's wondering what your end game is. He's wondering, let me find the question. Where would you like to see yourself in life, business-wise, ministry-wise, and family-wise? I think this is important because, we're out here striving to go grow our businesses, but in reality, we still got, work-life balance. So where are you trying to go here?
Yeah, that's a great question, bro. One that is fitting for obviously the time of year. We're days away from New Year's Eve, right? I don't have it totally ironed out of where exactly I want to be at. We're a young family. I just know that my family means a lot to me, and spending time with them means a lot to me. That's why I work with partners, is so that I'm not so consumed in work. And at the same time, like I know that I just need to continue to iron out these processes and build that team. That way the business is running with or without me, and I'm able to just continue to steward that, so that people can continue to grow internally, within Moss Creative, and, as well as externally within the partners that we have, those companies and whatnot that we have. Because more than anything, relationships mean the most. Being able to collaborate with so many different people means so much. I've got my boy Martin Flores, who's a part of the group. He's the one that turned me on to the Real Deal Video Strategist Club. He and I, we live in the same city. And so being able to collaborate with him, like, all of that really means a lot to me, so more than anything, I put relationships over it all. And so I guess, when you ask me what my goals are, it's to really have genuine and authentic relationships within Moss Creative from a business standpoint, where everybody's growing, and then, helping people even grow spiritually as well within our faith walk, and so living that out.
Good stuff. Viva la Moss Creative.
Let's go.
Let's go. Good stuff. Tomas, like I said, dude, your journey from where you're at, which was an awesome place to be, and the transition, inspiring, dude. I'm glad that you're part of our club, because you bring so much value to everybody here, dude. And I appreciate you.
Man, it's an honor and a pleasure, bro. And I appreciate you and Mark for being the leaders that y'all are, man, because this club wouldn't be as valuable as it truly is, especially relationship heavy, if it wasn't for you two valuing that.
I got you. Let's keep it going. I dig it. All right, good stuff. Let's go over to Ridge. My man, what's going on, dude?
Just being a part of a pretty awesome Zoom call. Tomas, dude, bro, your energy, I'm serious. I say it all the time. Like, it is contagious. So keep that up, dude.
It's up here, right? Like, we got to get up on Tomas's level. He ain't going to come down to us. He's up here.
Bro,
we
you're
got to
telling
go
me.
up here with him. Okay, Ridge, I brought you on for a specific question, a specific reason, but guys, Ridge has been in the club for a year, a little over a year, maybe?
A little less than a year. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I actually had Ridge reached out to me the other day. He's like, hey man, can we have a conversation? I want to pick your brain about some stuff. So I was able to make some time, and just the way that Ridge goes about soaking up information and learning and surrounding himself with people that are going to make him better, makes him better in a way that I think is very noticeable. And I tell him this all the time, but like your confidence and the way that you put yourself out there is really, really impressive. And I don't say that to like, hype you up, but I am hyping you up because it's the truth. But my question to you is, why is it so important to you to continue to educate yourself? Because you're constantly looking for new ways, new courses, new books. Why is that important? And why is it also important to surround yourself with people who you feel are better than you are?
It's a good question. I think we all hear the cliche, right? You're a combination of the 5 people you surround yourself with. I didn't realize how true that was until this past year. And a little bit of context, guys, like I went from the first 3 months of this year, I had 0 income and I didn't know what I was doing. I knew nobody. I moved to Boise. I didn't know anybody. I was nothing. Right. And now I'm ending the year with, and I say this to give context of how valuable this aspect is. That's the only reason I'm saying this. I ended the year with about 9 months of income and ended it at almost 200K at an insane like scale, right? And again, I say that because I owe it all to the people within my circle, all of it. I would not be where I am if it wasn't for those people. Obviously, the books that you read are great, asking questions, learning from others, and, trial and error. That's all super important. But I think networking as a whole is extremely important, but more so than just networking, I think networking with the right people is what is most important, right? So the reason I do it is because I think the second you think you know everything and the second you think you don't need other people is the second you fail. 100%. And I don't think I don't care how much money I'm making. And I learned a lot from my dad too. I think I talked about him a little bit. He's a serial entrepreneur and he has a disgusting net worth, and he attributes the same thing. Like him and our mindset is very similar. And when I was younger, I just studied this guy, and even more so today than I did before. And with him, his emphasis on his humility and his ability to continuously learn regardless of where he's at, even though like right now, he's probably has one of the highest net worths of anybody here locally, anybody that I know. He is the busiest dude that I know. And he's one of, if not the most intelligent person that I know. And it probably comes off a little biased because he's my father, but it's 100% the objective truth. I know nobody else that I've learned from as much as him. And with him, it's weird because people as a whole like to talk. People like to give their opinion. People like to teach. When in reality, most people that willingly give their opinion, and remember this, most people that willingly give their opinion aren't qualified to be giving their advice. Most people aren't qualified. The most people that are qualified to give their advice are the ones that don't speak. They're the ones where you have to seek out. They're the ones you have to go to and listen to. So studying people and having valuable relationships with people that are where you want to be, you shouldn't be listening to anybody unless they're where you want to be. And that's a cold, hard fact. And you should count on one hand, and those are the only people that you listen to. So I don't know. I kind of got off on a tangent, but I think that is the most important aspect of what I owe my success to, is not just knowing people, learning from people, but knowing and learning from the right people. and just that constant hunger for learning and knowing that you don't know all the answers and you never will. Oh, and what I was saying before with my father in terms of humility and how much he learns, he's one of the most intelligent people that I know, but he portrays and acts like he knows nothing because he's never giving advice. He's never talking about where he's at or how much he knows. All he talks about is what he learns from other people, or he asks questions. That's all he does. You would never guess it. And, that's just how I try to go about things. I think it's super valuable.
And it shows you crush it. So there's a couple questions from Facebook. They're similar questions. One of the questions was who are your top 5? And let's not go into who the top 5 are, but can you do this for me and tell me the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most? What qualities do they bring, and why did you choose to have them in your inner circle?
Freaking love that question. So yeah, character alignment is huge. Obviously the trust factor and how other people speak about them. Cause that kind of tells you all you need to know about them. If like when I meet somebody new that I think could be a valuable person within my life, a good mentor, I study the crap out of them and I just watch them. Like I watch them like a hawk for months on end and study the crap out of them and see what they do. And then I'm also asking questions to other people within the same circle about them. What are your thoughts on them? What do you think about this person? And then obviously, what they've actually accomplished, their credentials is, stage 1, but the people that are within my circle of 5, it's not a hard number, but around that many people, obviously have insane net worths. I mean, money's not everything, but when you have a pretty good net worth, it's a pretty good testament to your character and who you are as an individual, right? So they all have crazy net worths. They all own multiple companies. They all understand people a lot better than I do and a lot better than the average person, which I think is everything. Your ability to have healthy relationships and understand people and know how to work with people, regardless of what industry you're in, is what's going to set you apart and what's going to allow you to achieve success. So I guess to sum it up, it would be character alignment, trustworthiness, and just the simple fact of they're where I want to be. Like these guys it might not be the same industry. A lot of them are kind of in the same industry, whether that's marketing or content creation, but just the fact that where I want to be might not be content creation. It might not be video, it might not be marketing. And I always refer to myself, like, I don't refer to myself as a creator. I don't really refer to myself as a videographer. I just say that I'm an entrepreneur that happens to be doing video right now, because I could be doing something totally different here in the next year or so. I don't know. I just happen to be good at this right now. So that's what I'm doing. But people that are in different industries, the fact that they own companies, and what I really watch for is how their employees speak about them, what their culture looks like, and the fact that they're, where I want to be on a foundational level in terms of knowledge and stuff. But I don't know, it depends on who you are as a person and what you look for. Everybody's different. We all have different traits we look out for. We all have different qualities that we want to find. But at the end of the day, as long as those people are where you want to be, however you define that, that's what matters.
Okay, a follow-on question to that. And Michael in the paid group is asking, how do you find the right people? And let me see if I can add on to this, Michael. So Ridge, how do you, 1, find those people, and 2, start a relationship with them where you can be like, hey, I want to hang around with you. Like, I want to be your friend. I want to, be your mentee or whatever. Like, how do you start the relationship so that it turns into something?
You need to add before you take. However, you need to give before you take, add value before you try to expect anything in return. I think what a lot of people do is they'll find somebody like, hey, they reach out. I like what you're doing. I want to learn from you. Like, I want to link up and ask you questions, pick your brain. You can do that. For me, and it's different for everybody. It's kind of an interesting question. At the end of the day, as long as you're giving substantially more than you're taking, and you're adding value to somebody's life, again, however you want to define that, that's really what matters. But with me, it was kind of like I looked at the different circles around here, because typically successful people surround themselves with successful people. And I try to find these groups and then link up and make touch points with the people within those circles and within those groups. And it's pretty easy to figure out who those people are. And at this point, I'm just being honest, at this point, people kind of come to me, like the people that I want to be mentored by, the people I want relationships with, will reach out to me and be like, dude, I've heard things about you. I want to like grab lunch with you, or I just want to link up with you, which is really nice and tells me that I'm doing something right. But before, it was kind of as simple as just reaching out to him and being like, dude, I respect what you're doing. I like what you're doing. And I want to learn from you, and I want to do this in return. So that way, I'm making your life better. Because too many people come at it in the mindset of, I want to pick your brain. And dude, people that are in places like they are, where they have people come to them all the time asking for stuff. Hey, can you do this for me? Can you promote this product? I want to ask you questions. I want to learn from you. And if you can be that person that's different, that comes to them and says, hey, I like you and you can make my life better. And I want to learn from you, but I want to do this for you in return. This is where my skill set is. And I think I can really help you in this area. However you want to go about that. I don't think there's a one word answer. It's just, I don't know. Like there's something to be said too about you attract what you are, what you put out there.
Guys, that is
kind of weird. I'm a really objective person, David. It's hard because I like having clear cut answers for things, but this is more on the subjective side. There's no single answer for anybody.
I align with you. You good, bro. You see everything you're saying is valid, man.
Yeah.
Straight up wisdom, like legit wisdom right there. And that's why I wanted to bring you on this call to ask you that question. We've got requests all over the place on the Facebook here. And actually, we didn't even get questions from the Zoom room, but we got some crazy requests. We got requests if we can get your dad on a Zoom call. We've got requests if everybody on the Zoom call right now can be the top 6 in their circle. We got some crazy requests in here. I love it. This is a great conversation.
Whoever that was, I'm with it.
Right. Hey, Rich, hit up your pops right now, bro. Right now.
I know, right? I was showing you. I didn't even get questions from the everybody here in the Zoom room. What questions do you guys have for Rich? Because I went straight to Facebook.
And every time I talk to Ridge, I'm just like, he takes you to the next level, I think. In your
Bro,
mind.
come on. That was literally me and you on the Zoom call the other day. I was talking to you. I was like, Phillip, man, like I didn't have enough notebooks, honestly.
No, come on. But that's the thing about Ridge, though. Like you said, David, at the beginning of every call, he's like always learning. I think what I've learned from Ridge is be the last to talk and learn to listen before you say anything. Because if you're the last one talking, usually that means you're the one learning and you're getting all that information. So right. I guess my question to Ridge would be like, what's your end game? What's your why? I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I've heard that before.
That's the golden question. That's kind of how people know me. So when people think of Ridge, I ask people this question all the time because I'm so curious on what do you think about me? I'll just ask people in the middle of conversations like, hey, what do you think of me? Like, who am I? Like when somebody says, what do you think about Ridge? What's your impression? What is your response? And everybody says the same thing. And he's the dude that asks the questions that nobody else thinks or knows how to ask. And I thought about that and I was like, okay, interesting, elaborate. And they go deeper into it. And it's an interesting concept. But my why, I think I'm always going to be figuring that out. I don't think I'm ever going to know. At the end of the day, foundationally, my why is as long as I'm making somebody else's life better, then I'm golden. I think if you're not making somebody else's life better, then you're wasting your time. Quote Will Smith. Yeah. Dude, Andy Frisella is a G, by the way. If you guys don't follow him,
I love him.
Love that guy.
I love him.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I think,
and that's totally okay too.
Yeah.
On that journey.
Here's what I do know. So I'm a man of faith too, Tomas. And I know that there's a calling for everybody. And I know there's something we're supposed to be doing, however long it takes you to figure it out. I mean, there's dudes figuring it out in their 60s and some figure it out when they're 23. Everybody's on their own timeline, but I know there's something. And I think it's the constant pursuit of figuring out what your why is what matters.
I feel that.
Bro, yeah, that resonates so deeply. And that's why I respect everything that you say. And one of the biggest things that you had mentioned right now is how when people ask who you are, you say that you're an entrepreneur, because that keeps you open, right, to understanding your identity and how it's continuing to unfold. Mm-hmm. How your why may stay the same. It may change. The perspective of it may change. So it's still your why, but you're looking at it from a different angle as you continue to grow within your entrepreneurial journey and just, within the faith walk that it is, So that's fire, bro.
Good stuff.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Deep.
It's the pursuit of happiness. You guys all know that quote, and it's called the pursuit for a reason. It's because you're never going to arrive. You're always chasing it,
Good stuff. All right, everybody who watched on the Facebook, go look up some of Ridge's work and what he's done, and it's awesome stuff. I tell him this stuff all the time. But Ridge, dude, like legit, I'm always impressed by you. Every time we have a conversation, I'm like, dang, this guy's wait, what, like, where do you even come up with this stuff? So, no, dude, I think that what you bring to our club and what you're doing is just fire, dude. And it's exciting to watch you grow, dude. I can imagine that you're gonna, blow it away. So good stuff. And thank you for being here and offering that perspective.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, cool. Yeah, go look at some of those crazy requests that we just got in the Facebook group when you're done there. Some good stuff. All right, last but not least, let's go ahead and go over to Adam Grumbo, my man, Central Texas. What's going on, Adam?
Yeah, last to talk, which means I'm learning the most. It's great.
There you go. I love it. Okay, so Adam is very new to our club, but he's definitely not new to a lot of the video circles that are out there. I've known Adam, I guess we'll call it professionally, for a couple of years now. I hired him to come and film my sister-in-law's wedding. I recently hired him to come and film my wedding. But what I think a lot of people don't know is that Adam, like you mentioned earlier, even though a lot of people see his wedding stuff, he also does about 50% of his work is corporate stuff, which I don't know that we all see a lot of. So Adam, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more and explain that dynamic of one, having a passion of filming wedding films that you're phenomenal at, but two, also creating corporate work. Like, how does that work? I know there's a lot of people that are trying to do that, can't quite figure that out. How does it work for you?
Yeah, I have everything smashed together into the same marketing stuff, but generally speaking, most of the stuff I post is wedding related. I think that's because it's easy to shoot a wedding. It's easy to book a wedding. And generally speaking, they happen in beautiful places with beautiful people eating beautiful food and just having a good time. And then once it's done, it's done. And then corporate stuff, on the other hand, it's a lot of stuff that's inside, a lot of talking heads, maybe not as glamorous, pays a lot more money. And there's way more back and forth as far as notes. Everything is stretched out longer because stuff is decided based on committee a lot of times. So I tend to not post a lot about that because it's not as glamorous, but it does pay way more. And oh man, it's going to pay so much more this coming year once I have a strategy. Because if I'm doing this well now without a good strategy for each client, next year I intend to at least triple the income on the business side.
So one of the things about weddings is once the wedding's done, that's it. Hopefully, right? Hopefully you don't have to film a wedding for the same person twice. So, right. But for the most part, once the wedding's done, that's it for that couple. And then obviously they can refer other people to you, which I'm sure you get a lot of, but it's almost one video and then done. But like from the corporate side of it, what are you looking to expand in so that way you can have those more strategic video approach with those clients and having more of a long-term relationship with those corporate clients?
Well, the great thing about the Real Deal is it lays out very specifically what proven techniques and videos will make these companies more money, give them more clients, give them more reach. And that's something that I've never taken the time to develop. I've always been, they give me a chance to make some videos. They don't know what they want. They just have it in the budget. I have these videos created. I create them. I give it to them. Everybody's happy. They're thrilled with what they got. But there's so much money that's left on the table, especially in Austin with all the tech companies, Samsung and HP, AMD, Intel, Dell, PayPal, eBay. All this stuff is in Austin, and I've shot for almost all of them. And it's always one-offs. They're well-paid one-offs, but I have libraries of content for these guys that just sits unused. And so I'm super excited to at least leverage that, build upon the existing relationships that we have, and say, here's what can make you look like a superstar in your role. When do we start?
I love it.
That's
I love it.
2022 is going to be that year. I've got so many clients just sitting there. Unfortunately, a lot of them got laid off because of the pandemic. So it might be a little effort trying to figure out who the new marketing people are. But
so it's interesting. And I asked Landon this the other day in the conversation that we had when he was on the roundtable. But so many of us know who Adam Grumbo is. We've seen your stuff. It's phenomenal, right? Like I've seen, I'm like, I need to hire this dude to come and film my wedding. We all know how good you are from a technical standpoint. And I think a lot of people assume like this guy's at the top of his game. Like there's nothing above Adam. There's nothing above Landon.
So
These
much
guys
above.
are the top, right? So like, but for you, like, why is it important to be like, hey, I might be up here, but there's still so much more up here. Like why, what is that in your head that makes you feel not content with where you're currently at and want to make you grow?
I see posts in this group all the time. I'm like, oh man, I remember talking to you in the backside of my van. You're like, I just got bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh man. And I'm missing my kids' soccer game on the weekends for this kind of stuff. So that's part of it. I want to spend more time with my family, especially with the new baby that came out. So working in a way where you have income that is something you can count on with a retainer system, that's going to be nice. And I think our quality work is good. It can be so much better. We can be more strategic in everything that we do. So there's a whole lot of room to grow. I really have fun doing it. I love doing this stuff, and I'm constantly giving people breaks because I'm like, that sounds like so much fun. Let's do this. We can do it for that price. And then I always forget these companies, some of them are billion-dollar companies. Their budgets are next to unlimited, and I never appreciate that. Dell's a perfect example. I'm shooting for Dell. I charge them small business rates. They don't care. When I can charge them 3 or 4 times that amount because that's what it's budgeted for. I keep having to change the picture in my brain on what it is that I provide and the value it is to that company. I keep thinking of the value it would be if it was my company. And once that mindset changes, the revenue is going to change drastically. Even with shooting at CES, we've been going to CES for the past 6 years. And, they might spend $20,000 shipping a TV across the country. And I keep charging incorrectly for a lot of the things. And once I implement what is being taught in the course, backed up by data and testimonials, it'll be easy to make that sale. Because for them, they want the project done. If you can justify the cost of doing that, it's going to be great.
Awesome. Good stuff. Let's open it up to questions from the Zoom room. I already see some questions coming in on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, if you've got questions for Adam, go ahead and send them in. But I'm going to turn my attention over there. And what do you guys got for Adam here in the Zoom room?
Adam, I got to ask, how'd you plug into the tech companies? They're like pretty much fresh into Austin, right?
Oh, they've been in Austin for a long time. So every year there's South by Southwest, 2020 excluded. 2021 was also excluded. But it's a little bit like CES, where tech companies come from all over the planet and they're desperate for photographers and videographers. Mm-hmm. Having a good network, people get tapped out on their team. They call your team. And when you do a good job for people, make their lives easier, be helpful to them, they usually remember you for next time. And then you offer what you can do. Also we do photo, we do video, we can do these same day edits. We can deliver it instantly. So at South by Southwest or at CES, you can be advertising your booth to get more people to come to your booth right there and then. You don't have to wait till the end of the week. Offering people things that will really help the efforts and the money that they've put into these shows, they'll see that value. And, you're competing with all these other tech companies. And everybody wants somebody who can do quality work really fast and reliably. So that's helpful. For Dell, my previous wife worked for Dell. And so the Dell is so humongous. You can have.
I hate a cousin for me at CES, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna take some selfies and send them back over to you for pledging. But yeah, it's the same companies. They want the content. They don't know what to do with it. And so many times, even the company I'm shooting for at CES this year, they're like, "Do you also market it?" And I'm like, "No. Traditionally, we've taken the photos and given it to your marketing team." And so that's one of the things that 2023 is going to have to be. Of course, we also market it for you. It costs this much money. But Austin's a great city for being plugged into the tech industry because it's thriving. It's amazing here. Yeah.
Russian, absolutely huge here. Okay, questions from Facebook. Austin is asking, are you looking to expand the corporate side of your business and cut off the weddings, or do you plan on keeping both going at 50-50?
Well, I've been slowly taking less weddings as time goes on. It's just it's so fun. So now I do mostly destination weddings. We just shot this beautiful wedding in the Dominican Republic for a Victoria's Secret model, and I can't wait to show that one. It's beautiful. But David, your wedding's first. So it's great to be able to use all my favorite toys in beautiful locations. So I really like doing that stuff. I'm going to have to stop doing it eventually just because I'm getting older, and it takes its toll on its body. It takes its toll on your family when you're going to be gone weekends and stuff like that. So certainly we'll be taking less weddings as I get older, and then going to have to be building up teams for corporate. I feel like it's a lot easier to send teams to corporate events and not have to be there in person on every single shoot. And that is important for me to be able to do that because, I can't be going to every shoot for the rest of my life. That's just not going to work out.
I'll tell you what, man, I filmed one wedding only, and that was the last wedding I filmed.
Bro, I didn't like them either.
No joke.
I didn't like them.
I love them. I've done well over 500 of them. It's allowed me to see and go to the most amazing places I've ever dreamed of. But corporate work has also allowed that for me too, which is huge. So one of the big contracts I got was in 2014. It was right as I was getting out of a divorce. So it was perfect timing. But I was shooting for Mini Cooper, and I got to go to all these 13 different major cities around the world and shoot their landmarks. It was a huge amount of money. So I stayed in all the most beautiful hotels. It was a perfect place to rediscover myself. So corporate allows that too. So in the future, I would like to be doing more of the adventurous corporate side of things and not just the talking heads. Talking heads and stuff pay big fat bucks, but
Good stuff. Okay, we got another question from Facebook from Brian Garcia. He's asking, do you separate your website and social media presence for weddings and corporate work? What do you suggest for us? I have a wedding site and a real estate site. Do you recommend that we create a separate website, social media account?
I have all my stuff mixed together. I would recommend having them separate. The problem is I've been getting so much work consistently for years now. I haven't had time to really update anything. When I get inquiries for corporate work, it's always been from a referral, and then I just send them the completed projects that I've done in the past. It's always worked, but it doesn't work as well as the trifecta. And I need to have a good landing page with the testimonials to be able to better field these clients. Something super simple that looks also professional so that they're okay with writing a $30,000 check. If I'm just sending them YouTube links every time, it's been working. That is certainly not the best way to do it. And I think the same would be for real estate, is they want to know that you're an expert in real estate and not be watching every second or third video that's a wedding. So I would say that it makes more sense to have it separate, although I don't. But even going through social media of everybody that's on here and the YouTube, there's not an overwhelming presence on any of them for any of these guys who are just killing it in the industry. So it's not as important as it maybe used to be, but certainly is a great way to get clients if you're struggling right now. Just polish it up, take some of the time off that you have, remarket it in the off season. I think January is pretty much going to be the off season for most companies as they get their teams back together after holidays and catch up on emails and stuff like that. So it'd be good once spring hits and their budgets come in, to have that stuff in line so that you can really put your bucket out and catch some of that money. That's a long answer, but it works both ways. I would recommend having them separately.
I agree. Separate them. Probably a better idea long term. Another question from Facebook. Do you find that these larger companies have their own in-house marketing production teams? And if so, how do you get hired on to shoot if they already have a production team under their roof?
Yeah, a lot of times they do. Like Dell, for instance, has Dell Blue. That's their internal team, but they field all the super large projects. And when they get caught up doing this other stuff, they need some other people to handle these other projects that Dell Blue's too busy for. And I have no problem being second fiddle to somebody like that. If you're taking a $30,000 contract and they're getting the $250,000 contract, that's fine, especially for a one-man band where I bring in contractors. So always, and then these companies are so big that the individual teams need things done, not the company as a whole. So for, Samsung, if their cell phone division needs something, it's totally different than their TV division. And there's tiny divisions within that. So for Dell CES present, they have enterprise, they have consumer, and every single one of them has needs. And what you can do is just fulfill those needs on that individual person level. That marketing person needs this job done. You pitch to that one person. You're not pitching to the whole company. And so even companies that have huge internal agencies, they need help. Oh, and to go a little bit further, I don't want to talk too much about that, but recently they've all been bringing in internal teams because they can pay them salary for a whole lot cheaper than they can pay us externally. And oftentimes they're not nearly as good at what they do as an agency that's been doing it for 10 years or 5 years or have worked with all these other companies. We can do things quicker, more efficiently, and higher quality in a lot of cases. But generally speaking, we're just trying to take the workload off of this person, make their life easier. And if you can make their life easier, that's worth a lot of money to them.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome wisdom. I think, like I said, a lot of people see you and your stuff and they're like, he's at the top of the game, but it's cool to see that you're not content with where you're at and there's still growth available for you and your business.
It's like what Rich was talking about. Everything he was saying is exactly what I was thinking. I've never been able to articulate it as well as he has. But yeah, if you want to work with somebody, do talk to them, but don't present yourself, hey, I want to ask you questions all day. Everybody is as busy as can be. And sometimes they don't have time to answer all your questions one at a time. But if you can help the person you want to receive knowledge from or experience from or shadow them on jobs, be an asset to them. And they'll think of you anytime they want help, but genuinely provide for them before you think of yourself. And Zig Ziglar said it a lot. I don't know if Tomas listened to Zig. Everybody loves Zig. Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough other people get what they want, you can have anything in life that you want. And it took me a while to figure out what that really meant. It's make yourself of service to everybody else, and it'll come back to you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say on that, Adam, like, keep in mind, guys, too, there's a difference between adding value and doing free work. You don't have to do free work to add value to somebody.
Yeah, not free work. No. Yeah, don't work for free unless you don't have any bills to pay.
And both parties need value.
Agreed. Okay, good stuff. Derek Ord said that he's lurking on you now, and he said, holy smokes, his wedding videos are bonkers good. Derek, the video that he filmed from my wedding is going to be the best. And I know this for two reasons. One, because we're ahead of the Victoria's Secret model in the Dominican, but two, because I had nothing to do with that video. It was all my wife. She carried the load there, and she's what's going to make that video extra special. So I'm still waiting for it. That's going to come sooner than later. And either way, Adam, dude, we're all pumped to see you here in the club. We're all pumped to see where you can go from what you've already established. So it's good to see you doing your thing, man. I appreciate you coming on to the Zoom and being able to share your experience.
Yeah, I've only gone through the boot camp, but everything I've seen is like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I know this is exactly what I need. I've just been too lazy to try to cobble something together myself. So the fact that you did it is going to make me hundreds of thousands of dollars next year. It's going to be fantastic.
Let's go. I'm down with that.
It was a record year this year with my lazy videographer tactics, but strategist next year. Ooh, I want to double it, and I think it's possible.
Record year. We're gonna hold you to that. Okay, let's do this, guys. Round the horn. Just super quick. I'm gonna go around. I want you guys to reflect on the last 12 months. What's the biggest thing you take away from this year that you're gonna take into 2022? I probably should have let you guys know about this beforehand. That I was going to ask the question. So in fact, I'll let you guys think about that for just a second and I'll plug something else. So for everybody that's watching, we're coming up at the end of the year. We had the giant spiff. So we are going to be giving away either a Sony a7S III or a Canon EOS R5. So for those of you who have participated in the spiff, it was a huge, huge success. Mark and I couldn't thank you guys enough for being willing to be a part of that and really pushing it forward. So I'm super excited to pull the name out of the hat. That is going to happen on the 31st, and that will happen at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you are part of the spiff, I will put the Zoom link out. You guys can join. One name is coming out of the hat. They're going to win the camera, plus 3 additional names are coming out of the hat, and I'm going to make my time available for those 3 additional people for one-on-one coaching in January. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're going to choose the Sony a7S III, just know that thing is on back order, and I don't know when it's coming in. But the EOS R5, I will be picking that up tomorrow. It's in stock where I'm at, so I'm going to drive on down to town. I'm going to scoop that up, and we will give that away on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, I gave you guys some time to think there. Hopefully you guys weren't listening to me, but let's go around the horn. What was your biggest takeaway? What are you taking into next year? Let's start in the order that we went. So Phillip first, what you got?
First to speak. I keep coming in first. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So I think the biggest takeaway from this last year, and then what am I taking into next year? I'll start with what I'm taking into next year, because I know that it's really about niching down into a few select solutions, video solutions that we can make repeatable for a lot of companies. It's great to do some custom work. I'm excited to do some custom work next year for sure for some bigger brands. But to kind of replicate the sales trifecta over and over and over again into a really good system that we can knock out a bunch of work for a specific group of people. So whether that's manufacturing or auto, I think it's probably going to be really in the manufacturing space for the sales trifecta. And then in the auto space, it works really well to have recurring retainers. So I think that's really what we're pushing into next year as a strategy, so that we can double down and repeat that process over and over again. Am I coming through all right? Okay. And then the biggest takeaway from this past year, just so many things I learned, a lot of lessons, a lot of things I would do differently if I could. But overall, it was just an amazing learning experience. And I think having that accountability as well as part of the group, that was really critical, I think, for me, who runs the sales at our company, to have just keeping coming back to this community and staying connected with other filmmakers and collaborating. That was, I think, our biggest my biggest takeaway from this last year was just how effective that was, like how effective building relationships was, and how much that influenced our growth over this past year.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Phillip, thanks, brother. Happy New Year, and congratulations on the growing family, dude. That's super exciting.
Thanks, man.
All right, let's go over to CM. CM, what's your biggest takeaway, dude? What are you taking into 2022?
Yeah, my answer actually isn't that conventional, but it definitely has a point. So you probably noticed that when I first got in the group, I was super involved, and at some point I kind of disappeared. Well, this year I had like a crash of mental health symptoms that really slowed down my productivity. And after I started getting help, man, it went into overdrive. And so I say that to say, if you feel like something's off, like legit talk to somebody, because like I've been killing it ever since getting that help. You know, I didn't know I had these symptoms. I'm not crazy. It's like ADHD, depression, and anxiety. Started getting help, and yeah, if you feel like something's wrong, if you feel off, something's slowing you down, I encourage it. So what I'm excited to do is take in the new sort of level of productivity in the 2022, because I do feel like I could have like added more sales to the year if it wasn't for that. But yeah, so I got help, and 22 is going to be awesome next year, basically. Yeah.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah.
Good for you. It's exact. I had to reel you back in. I was like, where's CM been, man?
Yeah. I was going somewhere with it. I knew it was going to be one of those answers that's like, what is this guy talking about? But I'm just trying to encourage it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can
Yeah.
appreciate that, but it's good to see you interacting more with the club now. And it's good
You'll see me a lot more now.
Dude.
That's all. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking. Happy New Year's, brother.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's go over to Tomas. Talk to me, dude. What's the biggest takeaway from this year? What are you taking to next year?
Yeah, man. I think along the lines of kind of what CM was just talking about, like understanding my lane and not overwhelming myself by trying to do it all. Right. You know, I think that's the thing. If I can just focus on, you know, what God's gifted me with, and that's just you know, the relationship aspect, like building relationship, that's probably my biggest thing. So what I'm taking into it is understanding where I want to be at in terms of the type of I guess who my target client is. Right. Any company that is no less than 5 million and above, not that I won't work with anyone less than 5 mil, but, you know, 5 million and above is the sweet spot in order for us to really rock out, you know, a whole strategy for them and for that investment to make sense. So whenever somebody says, hey, that proposal is way too much, being okay with that. Being like, all right, cool. Like now I know that's not my target, right? And just keeping it moving and not getting bogged down or not keeping too busy with the clients that are going to take me away from meeting those 5 million plus type of clients as well. So that's what I'm going to take with me into 2022.
Oh, that's super solid.
Yep.
Let's do it, man. Let's see a huge year from you, man. I'm excited to see it. Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year.
Right
Thank
back
you
at you, man.
man. All right, let's go over to Ridge. What you got, man? What was your biggest takeaway? What are you taking to next year?
Get my notepad out.
Speaking less and asking more questions. Asking the right questions. I think this year was an amazing year to figure out who I am and what I want to do. I think I found that lane, and I'm already at the point where I can choose who I want to work with, and it's amazing. And I'm at the point right now where, David, you and I talked about this, we're starting to hire people. And dude, let me tell you, Phillip, you know this, as soon as like when it comes to business, that's a whole monster in and of itself. But as soon as you start bringing on employees, now you got to learn how to be an effective leader and build proper culture, bro. It's like an entirely new company. It's insane. I didn't realize how much I didn't know until I brought on my first person, and I was like, oh, just hire somebody, pay them, and we'll be good, right? For the most part. But the amount that you learn about being a leader, working with other people, but I think mostly what you learn about yourself, you can't even put into words. So I think speaking less and asking more questions, being more receptive, and really hunkering down and learning as much as I possibly can about effective leadership. Because I think few people really understand it. And so I'm going to be going hard on that so I can figure out how to build the best team that nobody can touch and nobody can hold a candle to. I think that's the goal.
Awesome. Let's do it. We're going to hold you to that. And this is recorded too, so you ain't getting out of it.
Done.
Good stuff, brother. As always, it's awesome to talk with you. Happy New Year's, dude. And I'm thrilled that you're here in this club, dude. You're such a valuable member of our community, dude. We really appreciate it.
As am I. Thrilled as well. Happy New Year's to you guys.
All right. Last but not least, Adam Grumbo. Grumbo, what's your biggest takeaway from the year, and what are you taking into 2022?
Luckily for me, my motivation has still been as high as ever, despite all of the craziness surrounding the pandemic and everything else. It's been good to have a working knowledge in a bunch of different areas live streaming and video production, event videography, and everything else. So it's allowed me to survive. So for next year, I think that standing by prices, not negotiating, showing that even with these prices, it's still stuff that people book, and looking for the right clients who are happy with those numbers is going to be the goal. Man, I feel like I've been saying that for 10 years, but 2022, that's the year. Because I have no problem bringing in the money. It's working too much. The time that I am at a shoot is time that I'm away from my family, and I need to get that into my brain. And that comes with higher rates. The higher the rates, the less I have to be away from the house. So 2022, man.
Good stuff.
I have a strategy, less shooting and then more time at home, because we know exactly what we're getting.
I think we should create a challenge of the people that we pitch to. Let's see who can pitch to the more amount of people to say no to our actual price.
Yeah.
And try to meet them, right? If that makes sense.
There's a great rebuttal that I heard as far as high price, when people say, "Ooh, I love what you're offering, but that the price is too high." You say, "You're absolutely right. It is much higher than what you're going to see otherwise, and we are still booked out for the year." And do you know why? It's because these things work, and then you throw a bunch of testimonials at them.
Testimonial videos, get them while they're hot. They'll always be hot. Good stuff, Adam. No, we're excited that you're here, dude. I know you kind of looked at our community for a long time, and it's good that you're finally in here. We can ask you a whole bunch of stuff. You know, you're going to get bombarded with a whole bunch of tech Tuesday.
Do you know why, David? Do you know why I am part of so many online learning groups? It's insane. And almost none of them have any idea what they're talking about. And it is very clear that your strategy is effective, and I haven't even implemented it. I've got 3 clients on standby who I'm waiting to give the proposal to. Based on the strategies that you've laid out.
Let's go.
And I know those will triple each one of those contracts.
Let's put it to work. Let's make it happen. I'm excited.
Next month, I'll let you know how it went.
I'm excited.
We're going to wait for that deal close post, man.
Cool. All right. Well, let's end this up, guys. This series of Powerhouse Roundtables, we've had 3 of them, and we've talked with 15 incredible video strategists and entrepreneurs about a wide range of topics, everything from perseverance and dedication to building teams, to education, to gear, to we talked about so much stuff. And I think that the knowledge and expertise that these guys and gals have brought to the table has been absolutely phenomenal. So I want to thank every one of you guys who has hopped on these calls and taking time to come and share your experience. Thank you. That was awesome. I appreciate it. Happy New Year's to everybody. Again, we're going to give that camera away on Friday. So if you're in the spiff, look out for that. And guys, let's start 2022 off with a bang. We've got some cool stuff coming. Mark and I are going to take the value level to the next level. So keep an eye out for some big things, and Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you guys in 2022. Sound good?
Real quick, David, Yep. Did Alan ever reword his question?
Ooh, I think he did. Maybe just answer that.
He can just ask me. It's fine. If it's yeah.
I think you did. Just answer it in the comments. In fact, if you guys still have questions, put them in the comments. Also, let me know if you guys like these Powerhouse Roundtables. If you want these to continue, let me know, and I'll handpick some more people, and we can continue to do these. But again, guys, tonight, thank you for taking 2 hours of your time. I appreciate you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Let's do it.